Hello, hello. Welcome. Whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world, whatever you're going through as a business leader, welcome to the safe space that is the Growth Edge. This is facilitated by the African MSME Collective, and what we do in this space is we help MSMEs start, stabilize, scale, and grow sustainable success, as well as support enterprise support organizations to really figure out what they're doing and how valuable they are and where they are going. And we pray that we will continue to see a lot of growth in the African continent. Why are we focused on Africa? Africa has 1.3 billion people, 75% of which is under the age of 35. Now, the reality is a lot of us have head knowledge. We know how to run businesses in our heads. But in Kenya, we say, kwa ground vitu ni different. When you hit the ground, it's very different. And I remember studying entrepreneurship when I was in campus, and then I started the business. Oh, my friends, it was a mess, a big mess, because at the scale I was, a lot of those things were not practical or affordable. So the MSME market has a very different set of challenges that we stand to be part of those who anticipate them and provide the right capacity needed, as well as support others who are in the space. My name is Kyesubire and I'm co-founder at the African MSME Collective. And my heart is to ensure that we as AMC, which is really our vision, is to ensure that we touch and transform the lives of 1 million MSMEs across the continent. We're not doing badly, we're making progress, but what we believe is one step at a time. So let's make today's step. With me on this show this morning, well, morning or afternoon, somewhere for katikati, is my co-founder. And I'd like him to introduce himself and we'll have the conversation. Very interesting conversation today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. I am Joe Mukoko, co-founder, African MSME Collective, and happy to be in this space as we work with micro, small, and medium enterprises to help them start up right, set up right, scale right, and run sustainable and successfully. Or let me put it another way, successfully sustainable business. Or sustainable, successful business, whichever way you will choose to look at it. But I'm happy to be in this space, sitting, talking, sharing tips, ideas, and knowledge with all of you and all of us, because we learn from each other and we learn from you, and we also learn from these conversations on ways in which we can help the SMEs run better. Thank you. Back to you, Kyesubire.
Thanks, Joe. We started this conversation in the last episode about running on empty. And many times as business leaders, we live, breathe, dream our businesses. It oozes out of us in every pore. And there is a narrative that, oh, you must keep going. If you're not working every day of the week, all the time, you're not seeking to be successful. But I remember recently listening to a clip, and I think Joe Yodano shared it with me, the one from Vusi, that we must begin to prioritize rest. And Vusi says he was one of the proponents of the grind, but he has since changed his mind because he has understood the importance of rest. Now, in the last episode, we talked about how some of the reasons that we end up running on empty is disappointment. We've not been resting. We have drama at home, drama with teams. We have legal issues because maybe the business isn't working as well as we thought it would. So then we have internal contention in the business, but probably even sometimes, and this is a grave reality, Joe, many marriages fall apart because of businesses. And then there's also the aspect of regulatory changes. And we promised you that we'll come back and we'll give you strategies to recharge because we cannot recharge and grow in a vacuum. Now, Joe, first of all, I want to ask for a personal example. You have had many businesses, and like me, you've probably closed a couple. How did you recharge personally before we give people maybe about 8 or 10 ideas on things, steps they should take?
You know, When my first, if I would call it substantive business hit a snag, the people I went to talk to had no idea what it is I was talking about. And they could not see what I was seeing.
Yeah.
And their first reaction, which I like, and they showed concern, was, give me your CV. Because I was still young. And I gave them my CV. There was hope that something would come out of it because they asked me for my CV. And some even redid my CV. I think now mind shifting from I have to try and sort this situation to, okay, as this is happening, I am confident I will get a job. Then the job doesn't come. Then you go for the interviews. And you go for the interviews. And you go step 1, step 2, step 3. Then they don't offer you the job. Or they ask you, what is your consideration? And you give them a figure. And you give them your terms and conditions. Then they either, if the word that the younger generation uses now, they ghost you. Okay. And then there's one organization that really played ping pong with me because they would offer the job. I say yes. Then they offer the job to someone else who runs the position. Then in 8 months or 12 months, or they don't even confirm the person in the probation period, they come back to the market, come back and talk to me.
What?
And they say, available. And then they still don't offer me the job. Those are a set of disappointments that I tell you will break you into the smallest of pieces. And they leave you feeling like you are, how would I put it? You've been broken down to small pieces. So one of the things I did was, that particular moment, I didn't understand what was even happening. So the second time I hit a snag, I asked myself, can I talk to those people who've been running business for some time and are not my age? Let me go and look for someone my father's age who has been running business, and let me buy them tea and get their perspective on how to deal with disappointments. And you'll be so shocked that business owners have got lots of stories to tell about their journey. It reminds me a story of how yesterday when I was listening to the preacher in our church talking about how we run to God for prayers, but then when the miracles happen, they're very private. But when there is drama, it's public and we're asking for everyone to come and help. So they don't share their stories. Most people will not share their pain stories. But I realize when I share my pain stories, someone will relate and someone will learn from the experience. Why am I sharing the pain stories? I'm not looking for sympathy. I am just telling business owners, you are not alone in this journey. These things happen. These things happen. And so I reached out. He was gracious enough. He was touched and shocked that I had identified him to have a chat. And it was an honest chat, and I asked him, from your experience. And we were able to laugh and relate with so many things that had happened in business. So the first thing he told me, stop digging. Because when you keep on digging, you are forming a bottomless pit. Okay? How will you get yourself out of a bottomless pit? How many people will be needed to pull you out of that bottomless pit? So stop. It worked for me. So I was able to stop, gives you an opportunity to think clearly, walk out of the environment that you are in, go somewhere else, walk around, talk, appreciate. And then the most important thing, when you stop and appreciate, count your blessings.
Mm.
You're always better than someone else. Okay? There are those who are doing better than you. It is okay. But remember, in the last episode I mentioned, it is your race. What you're seeing in your business, they are not seeing. And they'll only see if you bring them on board and you let them see. Thank you.
You reminded me of one of the major snags I hit. And you know, when you've been an overachiever all your life and your first business thrived, and then you only shut down because of a legal issue or something like that. But at the peak of because my first business was a partnership with friends, and in my ecosystem, I'm known as the one who never loses hope, never loses track, always keeps going, always strong. So we hit a snag. I pivoted all the time, and then one day I just hit a wall. And I hit a wall because I wasn't resting. So the wall I hit burnout, and I had hit burnout when I was 20, but this I was probably 30 something. But this level of burnout that hit me, my friend, was bad. It came with depression. It came with a very deep sense of hopelessness, and the business was failing. We were now bottomed out, completely bottomed out. And I'll never forget that season of time because I went dark for 10 weeks. For 10 weeks, I didn't leave my house. The only thing I did every day for 10 weeks was get up and take my son to school. Get up and get him dressed and take him to school. I'll get back into bed once I'm back home from school. My laptop is there on the bed, and he would come home. He'd get home at about 3:30. So at 3 o'clock, I'll get up, I'll go to the washroom, I'll still go back to my bed, but I'll look like I'm very busy working on my laptop. And the thing that eventually got me out of that mess, the friend of mine called me and she said, "You've been quiet, you've been dark. Are you okay?" And I said, "No." She was employed, so there's a lot of my life she wouldn't understand. But she's like, "Okay, come, let's hang out." And I went to her house and we talked and we laughed and I cried and I let it all out. What I didn't know at that point, so my husband had dropped me off. What I didn't know is that he stayed within the neighborhood so that the minute I'm ready to go, he'd be able to pick me and take me home. And I didn't know how much of an impact it had on the two of them until he said to my friend, "You are the first person who has called and gotten her out of the house. Please keep tabs on her. Don't let her stay at home." And what most of us don't realize as business people, rock bottom is coming. And what I learned from that instance, and I've had a couple of rock bottoms after that, but it hasn't, I think that was one of the worst ones. Because now after that, I went into counseling and I found tools and patterns to get out. But when you understand, and allow me to go into scripture, in Isaiah, God talks about when the waters come, you will not be drowned. When the sun comes, you will not be burnt. When the fire is there, so it means that there will definitely, not maybe, there will be challenging times in business. That's why we must have strategies to prepare our bodies in advance and have game plans, knowing full well that game plan may not work 100%. But we must have things in place and strategies in place that would show us up. Show us up means would support us. We are tired, we have a couple to lean on like this and say, "Hey, nimechoka." We are struggling, we have a place we can sit. So what are some of those things? You shared a process with me, Joe. Let me not ask for things. You shared an 8-point process with me earlier. Can you take us through the 8 steps of just helping ourselves build more stable foundations and recharge? You are muted.
When you said you went dark, I was trying to imagine you went dark. I've never seen you dark all these years, so I was just trying to imagine how dark you went.
My
So
complexion
dark.
doesn't change.
Yeah, so I thought I was like, okay, is it the complexion that changed you and dark? Okay, then I understood. Sorry, I was a bit slow in my thinking. It was dark. You went quiet on everyone, and
When
that
I
is a
went dark,
very
I went
serious sign.
quiet. I went
Yes,
into hiding. I stopped
and
taking
that
calls.
is yes. That's serious running on empty. Serious running on empty. Thank you for sharing that. One of the things I have learned over the years, I got help, and now having gone for processes and lessons on how to be able to coach and mentor business owners and even advise them on how to run. And it's something we have been using and is working. Simple steps, adapt them to your own use. The first thing before we start the process is that you acknowledge there is a problem. Acknowledge there is a problem. And after you acknowledge there's a problem, get someone to talk to. And tell them there's a problem and I would like to talk to you. Get yourself an accountability partner. And with the accountability partner, admit, acknowledge there is a problem. This is where you are. You're not running away. You're acknowledging there is a problem. That allows you to stop, completely stop. The problem is already there. Stop. As we always say, the sun will rise from the east, set in the west. The rain will pour, but it shall stop. With every dusk, there shall be a dawn, whether we like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we hide ourselves under the thickest duvet possible or the deepest cave in Mount Kenya or Mount Elgon where I come from, light shall come. When you stop, it gives you the opportunity to assess the situation. And remember, you do all this with the accountability partner. Assess the situation. When you assess the situation, don't do anything after you've assessed it. You've seen what has gone wrong. Rest. You stopped. You've assessed. This is what is there. Rest. And when you rest, don't just sleep. Get into a physical activity if you can. Do breathing exercises, stretch, walk. If there are no mountains near your place, identify a building that is near you that has got 8 to 9 stories and go through the stairs. Every day, exercise. Go up and down those stairs. Or if there's a flight of stairs somewhere near you, go up and down those stairs 10 times. But get your body moving. That physical activity, the physical movement, triggers some reactions in your brain, and now you start running and start thinking again. You see possibilities, you see opportunities. If possible, walk out to nature. If there's a park you can walk in, right, okay. If you're in Nairobi, go to Uhuru Park or Central Park, or go to Arboretum, or go to Karura. It's nature. The green does some magic. If you're not somewhere where there's green, look for where you can be able to relate with nature. Is there a water body anywhere near you? Don't go and jump into the water body. Just walk where the water body is. Nature. Nature has a way of recharging us. Remove your shoes. Walk without shoes. Relax. Nature has a way to recharge you. Then when you have recharged and you feel like you have recharged, now come back with your accountability person and analyze that situation. When you assessed, there are findings that came out. Sit. Now, let's analyze what happened. Where are we? Why did this happen? If possible, use the 5 why process. Ask yourself why 5 times. That will help you make sense of the situation, make sense of where you are and where you would like to go. Then now start figuring out because you said we have to figure things out when you began this conversation. What help do you need? Where do you want to go? Who do you have to talk to? If you have loans, go talk to the bank. Or if you owe other people, talk to them. Be as honest, be as realistic. This is what has happened. As they say in Kiswahili, kimeumana. But even if kimeumana, it doesn't mean it is a stop. For those who are joining us and do not understand Kiswahili, it means you have hit a serious snag. But that is not the end of it. You can be able to get out of it. Get help. Talk to family. Let them know this is the situation you are in and this is what you need going forward. Get a support system. But most importantly, keep your accountability person close, because when you're going for your coaching sessions, they will help you think deeper. Okay? Now you have to come back. Have a realistic plan. Have a plan, but let it be realistic. And realistic, taking into account the resources that are available to you and for you. You can start a business with zero. You can start a business with $1. You can start a business with $10, $100, $1,000. But now when you're recovering, let it be realistic. Now, the realistic plan allows you to go step by step, by step, by step. And as you're doing this, remain accountable. Why should you remain accountable? The journey might not be smooth all the way, or the journey might be smooth all the way. But in all seasons, remain accountable. The accountability partner enables you to see things that you will not see. Remember, meaning is internal and individual. But because your meaning is internal and individual, it does not mean that the whole world has to accept your meaning and your idea. No. Why are you running the enterprise? Because you saw a problem that you would like to solve. You have a solution. The world needs to know your solution. Keep that accountability partner and work with them. And then as you're doing this, enjoy the ride and have fun. It's your enterprise. Have fun. A step at a time, have fun. Like we always say, rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat, because life doesn't stop. Thank you. Back to you, Kyesubire.
The one that really stands out to me is enjoy the ride. And there is a thing that joy brings to a situation. I remember hearing a definition that happiness is based on happenings. Joy is based on a certainty in your spirit that it will be well. So in this point, what you need is joy, not happiness. Because happiness, if you're in a really difficult situation, you can't. But enjoy the ride also spoke to me a lot, because it spoke to the fact that we are trailblazers in our spaces. As entrepreneurs, it's like we're cutting through the forest in unmarked paths. So what you have in your hand, and this is what I saw in my mind as you were speaking. We have, okay, here we call them pangas. They're basically called machetes. You're walking through a very thick forest with very deep undergrowth, and you're cutting a path as you go. And one of the reasons you cut a path is that somebody may come behind you and know which way to follow. And in enjoying the ride, you know the way, like when someone is really has really upset you, some guys go punch a bag, some people go run a mile, 2 miles, 3, 4 kilometers, things like that. And I could see how that energy of just cutting the path and the fun of making a new way then gives you the grace and the energy to deal with the pain and the frustration, because you don't want to carry this stuff with you. And I like the analyze part, because it helps you get to the depths of things. And one thing I know, as human beings, we don't like dealing with negative emotions. But one of the things I've learned in this journey, especially the last couple of years, is the negative emotion shows you where the real problem is. So if you see it as a flag to show you what to deal with, I'll give an example. So if I walk into a room and you're always annoying me, I could say Joe is annoying, or I could ask myself, why does Joe trigger anger in me? Because I learned that people can do annoying things. People can do things that make me angry. But as Kyesubire, I make the choice to get angry. I make the choice to retaliate. And in a culture where if you don't retaliate, you're seen as weak, then I may learn to be the bully to get my way, but I'm not solving the problem. So as you were speaking about those enjoy the rides and analyze, those are some of the things that were coming to mind. And I think I've told you before, I see in pictures. So that for me was the two sides of the same coin. One, enjoying the release in terms of removing the things that are holding me back, but also creating room for others to find a path to walk on. So if you could say one thing in closing about how to remain recharged, what is it you would tell business leaders?
Allow me to say two. The first one is about their physical being, not for them to become stocky like lawyers and, they've gone to the gym, you've done weights, you've eaten some brown ugali. No, take care of your physical health. Walk if you have to, run if you can, jump if you're strong enough, but move your body. And then practice breathing exercises. Breathing really helps. It's called mindful breathing. We will bring someone here to come and tell us about mindful breathing. I found that those exercises very helpful. They have a way of just releasing some hormones inside our bodies. I will not mention them because I might do injustice to the word that describes them. But yes, one key takeaway for SMEs is always make sense of where you are. When you make sense of where you are able to get solutions to move you forward. Sense making is important. Ask yourself the right questions. The 5 whys: critical thinking, creative thinking. Questions. Take a pen and paper, write. If you're not a person of pen and paper, type. If you're not a person of either of them, go somewhere where there's dust, take a stick and write on the ground. You'll get a solution. If you can't, record on audio. Make sense. When you make sense, you will be so shocked. You will find the solutions that you want. Thank you. Back to you, Kyesubire.
I won't add. I love that statement. Make sense of where you are so that you can move forward. That's it from us today. If you're in a space as a business leader where you're struggling to keep your head above the water and you need community, just drop us a comment in the comment section and we'll reach out to you. Because we know how hard it can be to be an MSME. We know the pressures, but we also know the extreme joy being a change maker in the community gives. So watch again if you must. I know I'm going back to watch this one again. Share it with a friend who needs to hear what we're saying. And let's continue to build and thrive as business leaders because Africa depends on us. Africa is waiting for us. Our children's children are hoping that we will stand up and make the changes we need to make so that the economic aspect of our continent is solid. But before that we will teach our generations to know themselves, come into the fullness of who they were designed to be and make the impact that was set for them. So from us at the African MSME Collective, on the show The Growth Edge, my name is Kyesubire Greg, and I say thank you for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Hit the notifications button so that you know exactly when the next video drops. because we drop videos every so often. And as you grow, come back and tell us which show has been of value, which one you think we need to repeat, which conversation we need to extend. If there's a topic you want to discuss, let us know and we will make room for discussion. From us at AMC, it is thank you. Catch you later.
Thank you very much. Au revoir.